There's a growing backlash to Scott Morrison's secret ministerial appointments this morning, with questions about whether he undermined Australia's constitution. The former Prime Minister apologised to his colleagues yesterday, but unrest is still simmering within the coalition over Mr Morrison's 5 secret jobs, with calls for him to resign.
Labor is promising to investigate exactly how the silent Ministry of One came about, and questions have been raised about the role of the Governor-General in this strange saga. Let's go straight to Stephanie Borys at Parliament House. Steph, good morning. So Scott Morrison says he believes he made the right decision to take on these roles, but it appears increasingly a lot of his colleagues violently disagree with that assessment.
Yeah, more and more colleagues, Michael, very unimpressed with how this whole situation was handled and questioning exactly what was going on, given there was no level of transparency. We now know that the former Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, when he was leader, he secretly took on 5 other ministerial positions between 2020 and 2021. They are health, finance, home affairs, treasury and resources. The finance minister, the home affairs minister and the treasurer at the time, they were never told about this. And to show you the extent of secrecy around this, to give an example, not even the heads of those departments were aware, such as the Treasury Secretary, the head of Home Affairs, even Australia's top spooks. Their departments fall under the Home Affairs portfolio. They had no idea either. Mr Morrison yesterday in a lengthy statement still sort of defended his decision, saying this was all around putting safeguards in place. However, his actions have really infuriated a number of his colleagues, including Karen Andrews. She was the Home Affairs Minister at the time. She had no idea about this until yesterday, and she described Mr Morrison's behaviour as disgraceful and has called on him to resign.
And on that front, has there been any suggestion or indication from Mr Morrison that he will leave Parliament?
No, he's staying put. He put out that lengthy statement yesterday afternoon to outline in his words why he did what he did. However, in that statement, Michael, he doesn't actually explain why he kept these appointments secret. He simply just said, look, if I had used those powers, I would have made it public then. But many of his colleagues are questioning why it was, managed that way, and the fact that it should have been transparent from the outset. We've heard from former Prime Ministers prior to Scott Morrison's time in the top job and have asked them, did you do anything similar like this while you were in the role? The answer is no for both Malcolm Turnbull and John Howard. Last night, the former Prime Minister John Howard was essentially standing by Scott Morrison and calling, though, on current Liberal MPs to back him in the sense of not calling for his resignation. He says the idea of a by-election is a bad idea.
It's not in the interest of the Liberal Party to have a by-election at the moment in a very safe seat, particularly as in the state of New South Wales we will face a state election in the early part of next year. So if anybody cares about my party, the Liberal Party, then the last thing I'll do is be requesting unwanted by-elections.
Now, this story keeps developing, but one of the key developments yesterday, and when we found out that both the Home Affairs portfolio and the Treasury portfolio were also under the watch of Scott Morrison, that was through a press conference given by the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, because the current government has asked the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet to look into exactly what went on. Government Minister Jason Clare was on News Breakfast earlier this morning, and he says that there is still more work to be done in terms of working out exactly what went on.
This is mind-boggling stuff, crazy stuff. It's wrong in principle that the former Prime Minister did this at all. I think it's made worse by the cover-up, by the secrecy with which he went about it. He hid this from his own ministers, hid this from the Parliament, hid this from the Australian people. The fact that this was kept secret tells you that they knew this was dodgy.
And the Prime Minister has also asked the Solicitor General for some legal advice around these matters. That information and that advice is due to come out next week, probably either Monday or Tuesday.
Stephanie Borys, thank you.